This is by far the hardest list I have ever made. It started with like 30 pairs that were all strong contenders. But after some deep contemplation and sleepless nights, we have the final list. So here is the top 10 best sneakers of 2025. Coming in at number 10, the Nike Pegasus Premium. Okay, so these are basically hands down the best Nike product that we've seen all year. They really did manage to take their iconic Pegasus line and just push it into a very accurately named premium direction. I remember when I first got these things in hand and feeling them and just being like, wow. Packing these shoes with 3 different types of cushioning that somehow works together. The React X at the bottom for stability. The first ever sculpted Zoom Air unit that's full length, and the ultra soft Zoom X foam right at the top underneath your feet. They look super good, kind of futuristic, they're incredibly comfortable, and they're packed with actual solid technology. All of that combined makes these just a really solid pair of shoes, and definitely a pair that deserves to be on the list. Coming in at number 9, honestly a pair that almost was an honorable mention, the Jordan 1 85 Bread. Now you may be like, bruh, it's the Jordan 1 Bread 85. That deserves top 3. I hear you, but listen, these just have one too many drawbacks to them. First off, obviously the retail price. $250 is just painful. Then we have the release, which recently has still been causing drama, but we'll get into that. They were insanely limited. I think there was about 10,000 pairs. Hardly anybody could actually get their hands on them for retail. And ultimately that made a lot of poor souls out there go and pay resale for these, which makes this next move even more painful. Is that Jordan Brand did announce that they're going to be releasing another one. Yes, there is an identical pair that's going to be releasing before the end of the year. It just comes with an extra set of laces, whereas the other one, I think it's like one extra pair, but it is identical. It's the same shoe that they're dropping again. Now, we're not entirely sure how this release is going to go in terms of like, are they just going to make it fully readily available and tons of pairs, or are they going to make it stupidly limited again? But that potentially could mean a lot of the stress and overpaying for a pair of these shoes when they released originally could just be thrown out the window when they release them again. Now, of course, with all of that being said, it's still an incredible pair of shoes. It's an iconic colorway on the Jordan 1 made to the exact specifications of the original 1985 pair. Like the work and all of the different details that went into this pair of shoes, even the marketing behind the release of these things was also amazing. It was really cool to see Jordan Brand put that much time and attention and emphasis on the drop. It just made this pair of shoes feel extra special. So yeah, overall, I think it definitely deserves a place on the list, but it's not breaking the top 5, at least for me personally. And hopefully this next identical release that they do is actually a decent amount of pairs, and anybody who missed out and wants them gets a chance to get them. Taking the number 8 spot, a pair of shoes that I really did not think would make the list at all. In fact, I didn't even think I would like this sneaker in general. It's the Jordan 1 Nigel Sylvester Better With Time. When I saw the first images before the drop, I thought, yeah, it's not really my thing. I'm not really the black shoe guy. I prefer lighter colors. But holy, when I got this pair of shoes in hand and put them on foot and tried them out with a bunch of different outfits, these things hit. The sail and aged details feel really intentional and work into the design so well. The red outsole, even though it is just a small little accent colors, pulls everything together and just looks so clean. The quality is also amazing. Like the actual leather feels great. And strangely, these are actually more comfortable than a standard pair of Jordan 1s. Like I've side by side tested it and everything. I can't really explain it, but it's more comfortable. It's just overall an amazing pair, a great collaboration, and yeah, definitely deserves a place on this list. Coming in at number 7, the New Balance 2000. Now I feel like this pair of shoes won't be on too many other people's lists. I think maybe because it failed to break into the mainstream like we've seen some other New Balance GRs like the 9060s. But for me personally, I love these things, and that makes me like them even more. It's such a wild, unique design, especially for New Balance. The look of these things just stands out so much from all of the other sneaker models that we've seen this year. I love the colorways that have released so far, although I will say that New Balance does take quite a long time to kind of cook with their new sneaker models. New Balance is not really like other brands who kind of do this huge push for the new model with a bunch of different collaborations and models and then completely just leave it behind and continue on with the next project. They kind of slow burn the release, so I expect to see plenty more collaborations and cool new versions of this sneaker in into the future. And I've loved mine ever since I first put them on. Extremely comfortable and just a great everyday sneaker. Taking the number 6 spot, we got the Jordan 5 Black Metallic Reimagined. Now, I said it when these things first came out, and I'll say it again. Easily one of the best reimaginings Jordan brand has done ever since they started this whole reimagined series back in 2020. And it's obviously a reimagining that for once, everybody seems to be perfectly happy with. So many times in this reimagined series, we've seen Jordan brand almost rage bait by changing some materials or, you know, changing one little detail that everybody hates. But these just hit. It really leans into the design of what made the Black Metallics look so cool, while still also making them more accurate to the, like, sample pair of the Black Metallics. Reflective details, the white piping around the materials, just such a great looking pair of sneakers. Now, the one unfortunate thing about these is that nobody slept on them and the resale price is going crazy. But yeah, that's just kind of how things go. Taking the number 5 spot, a pair of shoes that you've heard me bang on about this entire year, the Adidas EVO SL. In a world where so many brands are relying on older models from their archives, like retros and stuff like that, to really carry them forwards and be the most popular shoes, really nice to see something new come out and be actually really good. And these things, just from a shoe perspective, are so versatile, so good looking, and insanely comfortable. And I also like the fact that yes, this pair of shoes is hyped or extremely popular, but it's not from like a collaboration, you know, hyped up person behind it. Really just from the simple fact that this pair of shoes is so good. Doesn't need any crazy collaborations or any crazy marketing. And I think a lot of the popularity is just simply from like word of mouth, people talking about how good it is and then other people try it out and experience it for themselves. But yeah, overall just a very good pair of shoes that if you're looking for something to rock every single day and looking for like maximum comfort, I cannot recommend these enough. Definitely makes the top 10 list. Right, taking the number 4 spot, we got the Jordan 1 Union Chicago Shadow. Now this is one that I really did have to think long and hard about. I kind of went back and forth a little bit in terms of where it would be on this list or if it was on the list at all. It's one of those that's like, because it's not necessarily new, we have kind of seen this before. You know, because of the first 2 original colorways, you could argue that this pair of shoes isn't that special. But my argument to that is like, those first 2 were absolute myths, and ever since they dropped, the resale price has been, you know, thousands of dollars. And they actually did the release of these really well to where there's like a decent amount of pairs and they're not that expensive to pick up, even if you did have to pay resale. And even regardless of the other 2 colorways, this one is amazing. It's the Chicago Jordan 1 with the shadow on top. I think it was a great decision from Union and Jordan brand to bring these things back for a 3rd colorway. Like, it is such a good collaboration. I said this in my first review of these things. It's like one of the best, if not the best, Jordan 1 collaboration I've ever seen. It takes such a simple concept, you know, just mash 2 different colorways together, but they do it in such a tasteful, good looking way that it just makes the pair of shoes like so much more elevated from a standard pair. I love these things. It was like one of my favorite pickups for this entire year, so definitely had to make the list. Right, you know how we do it. We gotta get into some honorable mentions before getting into the top 3, so let me rattle off a couple. It's also crazy because like any other year other than 2025, some of these honorable mentions would have been like number 1 on the top 10 list. Either way, first one, Jordan 4 White Cements. Personally, one of my favorite sneakers of all time, and they did these things well. There's nothing wrong with this pair of shoes. It's amazing. I love these things. They immediately went into my collection. But in the grand scheme of everything that's going on this year and the insane amount of shoes, like, this isn't a new colorway, you know, it's just another retro that we've seen in the past. So yeah, honorable mention. Also, in kind of a similar vein, the Jordan 5 Tokyo, I think, deserves a mention. Now, obviously, these being a slightly bigger deal because the first one was insanely rare and exclusive. I mean, it's a mythical pair of Jordans that I'm sure a ton of people are going to have super high up on their list. I respect that, but for me personally, it's in the honorable mentions. And then last one up is the Awake New York Jordan 5. Man, I would have loved to add these to the list, but I just could not get them, like most people. It's truly just an incredibly good looking pair of shoes. I mean, for someone to make me like an all-over solid pink pair of shoes, that's an accomplishment. And I would have rocked the hell out of these things. But yeah, incredibly limited. Resell is insane. And unless some kind of a miracle happens, I'm probably never going to get these. And also, if you're wondering, Travis Scott fragments maybe could have sneaked into the honorable mentions, but not really. I don't think it makes the list. But I mean, I'm mentioning it now, so technically honorable mention. You get the point. Okay, let's do this. Top 3. Coming in at number 3, the Adidas Pharrell Jellyfish. What a sneaker. Now, you guys know I'm personally a sucker for a chunky runner style sneaker, but these things are different. The design and the inspiration and how they merged those two into this just crazy good looking pair of shoes, it just works so well. They're comfortable and surprisingly like pretty damn wearable for such like a massive chunky shoe with such an out there design. Quality of the product itself feels incredibly premium, like some kind of crazy designer brand easily could have launched these things. I'm not going to say Balenciaga. Now the release is, yeah, it's a bit of a tough one. They made these things so limited, and then they released 2 other colorways that were also insanely limited, so it's just like, god damn, let us have these things. Oh yeah, retail price $300, ridiculous. But to give them a little bit of credit, they have been teasing a ton of other colorways, so I do expect a lot more opportunity to pick up a colorway of the Jellyfish sneaker in the future. We got the blue pair, the black pair, I'm not going to list them off, but there's a ton. But yeah, overall, these are just a great sneaker, definitely in the top 3. Taking the number 2 spot, it has to be the Jordan 4 Undefeated. This one's crazy. I don't think anybody thought these were ever going to release. 2025 is truly one of the best years on record for sneakers. The story and the history behind this pair of shoes is just so deeply rooted into sneakers and what sneaker culture is today. The fact that these things were the first ever Jordan collaboration, and this sneaker is kind of what led us into this crazy world we live in now, where we have like wild collaborations and random people who are coming up and designing some insane things with Nike and Jordan brand. This sneaker was the beginning. And then even regardless of the sneaker and the history, just the shoe itself just looks so great. They're wearable with a ton of different outfits. Quality on these things was great. The shape, the details, all perfect. And even down to the actual release. They didn't make these things super limited and hard to get. They just dropped them. Everybody had a chance. So yeah, overall, this is a piece of sneaker history that we all get to just partake in now. But coming in at number 1 has to be the Jordan 4 Nigel Sylvester Brick by Brick. This sneaker is a lesson on how to do a perfect sneaker collaboration. From the storytelling, which is just so evident in almost every detail of the shoe, to the quality and just the colorway. Even the marketing behind this pair of shoes was just flawless. It felt very honest and true to Nigel Sylvester. I mean, the brick theme, even though Nigel explained it, is very personal to him, but like the brick theme in sneaker resale terms, like these are the farthest things from bricks, even though they're called bricks. It's kind of funny. It takes a lot for like a louder colorway like this to actually be so popular, and I think it is because it's just, there's something about this pair of shoes that is so wearable. Like you throw them on and they just look good. Nigel Sylvester, as a collaboration with Jordan brand, has been killing it this year. Every single one of the shoes that he has dropped have been hits. The RMs hits, the Jordan 1s, they're on the list. These things just have to take the cake. Incredible pair of shoes, incredible collaboration, and I cannot wait to see more versions of this. It's a great shoe, definitely my pick for sneaker of the year 2025. But listen, I really want to know from you guys, what is your favorite sneaker from this year? Drop your number 1 pick down in the comment section. I cannot wait to have a little read through. And of course, like always, I'm going to chuck another video in the top left hand corner. Click on it, check it out.